What's up, y'all? So last week I made a video talking about the hood trading method. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you do check out my TikTok page. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it just for you. Hey, make sure you go ahead and follow that, John. We on the road to 10K. It mean a lot to me to hit 10K, so let's go ahead and run that up. But if you're not familiar with that, I'll go ahead and give you a rundown on what the hood trading method is. So the hood trading method is centered around one key idea, and that is hustling. So you have to envision to yourself like you are in the streets, or if you're not in the streets, you're selling shoes or any type of hustle. If you know how to hustle, if you know how to sell things, if you know how to go out and go get things, then you understand what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to necessarily be about illicit activities. It can be selling shoes on eBay. It could be selling soaps, whatever. If you have a hustler mentality, this is the perfect way to think about trading. Whenever you're entering into the market, you're looking to aggressively get money out of the markets. So of course you have to use a unregulated account on offshore. We'll get into the nitty gritty of things, but right now I'm giving you a gross overview on what the hood trading method is. When you approach trading this way, it allows you to make as much money as you want because you're hustling. Now, this is not to disregard any A+ setups or even the concept of professional trading. You want to always have that in the back of your mind, but for a lot of people who don't have access to an abundance of capital and don't want to go through the bullshit that you have to go through with funded companies, the perfect alternative will always be the hood method. And that is depositing small amounts or whatever you would deposit using a funded corporation. Normally, I give it just around 3 tries on funded companies if I ever do use a funded company. And you just go ahead and expense that out. Say, okay, if the funding challenge is $50, I'm going to say it's going to be around $150 for that specific challenge. Why? Because you have to give yourself a couple of tries to pass. Do the same thing with the hood method. The wonderful thing about this method is that you're able to pull out of the market immediately. So on a $150 account, you can make anywhere from $1,000 to a couple grand because you can over leverage on perfect setups and rinse the market for all that it's worth. And that's the best way to go about trading when you're beginning and you don't have access to an abundance of capital. So that's the general idea on what the hood method is. We're going to be going over step by step on how you can achieve success using the hood method in little as 24 hours. If you need to, pause the video, grab your notebook, grab your pen and pad, come back, like the video, share it to one of your trading buddies, and make sure you do subscribe before we hop into this. Let's go. All right, so before we get started, we're going to go over something that is imperative to your success within trading using the method or not. This is known as TradingView. TradingView is the platform where we essentially journal. Like if you are familiar with any type of trade, or like even when you were in school, you had a notebook. This is your notebook. This is where your creative direction is able to be unfolded. This is where you can practice. You can even purchase a subscription with TradingView, and it allows you to do replays where you can do perfect back tests based on whatever was happening in the market. You can close. I used to do this when I was first in trading. I would press bar replay, close my eyes, scroll as much as I can, and then start trading from the replay section, and then have it turned down on a slow amount so then I can do long and short positions to simulate trading. Or there's even a paper trading option directly integrated into TradingView. There's also some brokerages. As you can see, there's a trade button here. I have some brokerages that I do use here because I do also have regulated brokers. I have onshore, I have offshore. It's just a part of my portfolio. I also have a stock portfolio. It's just what I do personally. And I mean, if you want to follow that path, you can do that as well. This is where you're going to jot all of your orders down, and then we'll transition over to the platform or platforms which you can use to execute those orders. This is just your notebook, and I just wanted to get this knocked out the way for those who are not familiar with TradingView at all. And to be honest, you really shouldn't be trying to use the hood method if you're not even familiar with TradingView, even in the slightest. I want you to get your feet wet, practice a little bit before you start losing money, because you're going to lose money. I'm just going to let you know, this is not a guaranteed success. You're going to lose money, and it's really up to how bad do you want it? How adaptable are you? And you'll figure that out as you continue to go on. How much can you tolerate? How many losses can you tolerate? How many times can you deposit before you break? That's the question. And if you're unbreakable, then this is for you. All right, y'all. So for step 1, make sure you do join the Discord channel. I do have that linked in the description down below, and it's also in my about section. Here, I have a list of brokerages which you can access to use the hood method. When you go to the rules section, you will see 2 brokerages that are listed. We have Hero FX and we also have PlexiTrade. Now, I will not recommend anything that I personally do not use, and you'll also see in the later on in the video, you will see that I actually do have accounts with them, and I do regularly deposit on these brokerages. So if you have any issues with the brokerages in any way, shape, or form, make sure you do reach out to me, and I'll go ahead and reach out to them on your behalf. But of course, do use this link that I do have in my rules section, because it does link to me, and that'll help me be able to get into your account to help, you know, with any customer service issues that you may have, which I hope you don't have any issues with this. All right, so now that we have an account with a brokerage that allows excess leverage, anything that's 1 to 200 or above, the 2 brokerages which I did provide offer anywhere from 1 to 500, and on PlexiTrade they just opened a 1 to 2,000, which I just made an account with them earlier today, which I did post in the Discord channel. I started it up with just about $173, and we're going to be seeing exactly how that progresses on. Now, to show you some examples of the hood method being used in action, we can go to our daily wins, and you can see that this is a $50 account, and I made $96 on that $50 account within this span of 5 minutes. Quick little $100, you know, that means a lot. If you're thinking about things in the terms of you're hustling, you're going on the play, bim, you know, I just made $100 right there. You could do it again in an hour or the next hour or something like that. We also have another example where I deposited $300 here and was able to withdraw another $300 and leave $300 in the account. I withdrew actually $330. This is a prime example on how you can use small amounts of capital and make this within a day. This was all in one day. Trading day 1. 115% increase. And now I'm going to show you guys an example of how I made $360 off of a $150 account using the hood method. We have $360 in P&L, which brought my equity to 513. If you minus 360 from 513, you will get just around 150 or something around that number. So as you can see, the hood method does work, and this is same day withdrawals, same hour withdrawals. You don't have to go through any type of bullshit with any of the funding programs, any rules. You have complete freedom to withdraw whenever you want to, and there's no limitations on what you can achieve. And I'll also show some examples of my students doing the exact same thing, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty on what the hood method is. Just wait. All right, so here goes an example of one of my students making $6,000, almost $7 grand, $4 off $7 grand, using the hood method on a 1K account. And mind you, he started with a little bit less than $200 to get it to that point. He ended up flipping it all the way up there. And there are some more examples from him, and there are other students as well in the Discord. If you ever want to go to the testimonials or in the profit section, you'll see other individuals that are printing money using the hood method. We promote live accounts over here. Do I understand the benefits to having a funded account? Occasionally, yes, but I will always promote live accounts first and foremost before anything else. And that's just my personal preference. All right, now that you guys have seen the benefits of the hood method and seen that you can make a shit ton of money using this, it's time to get into exactly what the hood method is and how you can use it for yourself starting today. All right, so now that we have our account set up with high leverage, it doesn't have to be the max leverage. As long as it's higher than 1 to 200, we're able to go to the application known as TradeLocker. Now, TradeLocker has a couple of different iterations of how you can download it. You can go through either the web version that you can just go through tradelocker.com, or sometimes your broker has that option. You can download it from their official website, or you can go to the App Store if you are trading on your phone, which I have it on both of my phones that I use. I have TradeLocker on there to monitor orders, sometimes to submit. Just really depends on what my screen setup is looking like at the current moment. But there are a multitude of ways to access TradeLocker. And there's also another platform known as MetaTrader 5. We're not going to be going over that one so much today because it's a little bit more intricate. It's a little bit outdated. The preferred platform will always be TradeLocker, and that's just because it has TradingView integration. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to be risking my real capital because there's no point in doing so. I just made this account, which you did see in the Discord. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to one of our demo accounts and show you how you would utilize the Hood trading method. Now, before we get into the actual application of the Hood trading method, let's get into some key components that you need to observe before utilizing any of this. When we're using this method, we're focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's making money. But understand that there are risks associated with doing this. You risk losing your entire account each and every time. And that's okay. That's a part of the game. You have to be ready to reload, upload, put it back in a chamber, and shoot it again every single time without fear, without hesitation, whenever you see a setup that works for you. Now we have some rules that we must follow and that we must establish before we go any further. You cannot use money that you depend on. So no rent money, no phone bill money, no eating money. This is strictly money that is set aside only for trading. Think of it like the same way how if you were to go buy some shoes, you're using that money specifically for buying shoes. And if you have a bad shoe buying habit to where you will risk your rent money for a pair of shoes, don't do that. That's the wrong analogy. And last but not least, we have sniper entries. You must get a perfect entry each and every time. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. That is what you are looking for because we're looking to go max lot size every single time. But there's a little sweet spot on how much leverage how much you should be putting into the market based on your account size. All right, so now that we have the ground rules set, it's time to get into the practical application on how to use the Hood trading method. Okay, so we're on my TradeLocker demo account. As you can see, we have $501.31 or 36 cents. And I believe this is the 1 to 500 leverage account. So it's not going to be as max as you can go, but it's a good little sweet spot. I normally look for 1 to 500. Now, the thing with what we're doing right now, this is going to be a little bit different. And that's because we have something known as spread. And if you're not familiar with spread, what spread means is there is a bid and ask price. And essentially, you can see that the candlestick right here is showing, okay, price is 1912 with 67 cents. But where would you be entering in at? It depends on whether you're buying or you're selling. So they would put us in at somewhere around this price. And really, it's just this line that you're following. So there's going to be a little bit of a deviation, and that's okay. And that's just because we're using crypto. Now, there are times where regular markets, such as the currency markets or even futures markets, they do the exact same thing during certain trading hours. But the likelihood of that is very slim. You're only going to see that majority of the time with crypto, and that's just because I actually don't have an answer on why that is. It's just different quotes. And we're only using crypto because the market is closing in about 3 or so minutes. So I'm not going to be able to show you actual live examples. I'm recording this at the end of my trading week because I'm a trader first, content creator second. All right, so let's try to get some entries on Ethereum using the Hood trading method. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and mark off some areas where I believe that I could enter in at. And of course, this does depend on whatever trading strategy you're using. You don't have to use the same thing as me. And I'm not really going to be going over strategy today in this video. This is more just of getting you acclimated with being able to use the Hood trading method, which essentially is just over leveraging. That's really all it is. Full porting, whatever you want to call it. That's exactly what it is. And you're just rinsing and repeating through unregulated brokerages. We're going to have to go in with substantial size. Now, do I see any entries that I would take personally? The answer is no, but because I don't want to sit here for 3 hours and wait for a potential entry, we're going to go ahead and just enter in. Let's go ahead and turn on one-click trading, and we just sell, right? So I'm selling, and now let's see how much we're risking, because for me, I don't want to go over the margin that we have. So we have a maximum of 500% margin. we don't want to go anywhere past the 100 point. And that's just because when you get past that point, that's when you have the issue of the brokerage closing you out forcefully of that order. And we don't ever want that. So let's go ahead and get some stronger sells because we can risk a lot more. All right, so keep in mind that crypto is an anomaly, and because there's no way I'm gonna be able to record this during the trading week on a currency, the entries are going to be off. So just imagine we're sniping entries, because it's really just the concept on how you should be entering into your orders. So I would go strong sell sides on this particular setup just for the demonstration purposes, and then we have our how much we're risking, which even still we're not risking much. You can see we have $6.27 here on the risk, which means that we can continue to throw larger and larger lot sizes. All right, so this is editing Dan here. I didn't realize that my recording failed halfway through. I still do have the screen recording of the footage for showing how to do the hood method using the leverage on TradeLocker. So I'm just going to give a brief overview on some of the things that I touched on while I was recording that it ended up getting cut out on. While you're trading the hood method, one thing that you need to be focused on is the margin level. Right now in the video, we're looking at about a 99.38% after I put on more lot sizes, and that's a little bit overweight, because when you get into the 100%, like I explained previously, that's where margin call ends up happening. And when that happens, they'll just wipe your entire position and they just don't care. Or really now on TradeLocker, they do this thing to where they'll wipe majority of the position until you're right under that margin call area. But as you can see, I will start taking away orders, closing orders, to get me around a sweet spot of around 70 to 80%. And that's just on TradeLocker. If you're using MetaTrader 5 or MetaTrader 4, the margin level shows inverse. So you're really looking for around anything above 150. I normally try to keep it around 250 to 400 when I am over leveraging using the hood method. And that's really like the sweet spot for my orders. All right, so now that we got the practical examples out the way of what it looks like to submit the orders and what the margin looks like on TradeLocker, let's get into what perfect sniper entries look like. Traditionally, if you're somebody who is using a regular leverage account, you don't have to get sniper entries. You can, it helps and makes you a lot more money, but you don't have to because you're not over leveraging. You don't have any fear of the market taking you out. But for us, we're over leveraging. We don't have that luxury. So let me show you how to do this. So we go down. So let's say I'm in on the 4-hour time frame, right? I'm looking to be anywhere within this box. And this is some game. You can go down to a lower time frame. Let's say we're on the 5-minute time frame, which I don't know if I have. Yeah, we don't have enough data for that. So we're just going to go to the 15-minute time frame. So we'll drop down to a lower time frame of any choice. And this is completely universal. You could be trading on a daily time frame or whatever it is. You're looking for the lowest possible entry. And to do that, you have to go down to lower time frames because you want to be in where these small rejections are. That's your entry, because you have to get a sniper entry. The best entry possible is down here. Okay, that's the best possible entry. However you get that entry doesn't matter. You have to get that entry. The main focus here is to buy low, sell high. Doesn't matter what strategy you're using. You want to buy low and sell high. That's the best thing to do. And that's within any market. You could be buying a house. What do you want to do? You want to get the cheapest price. And then what do you want to do? You want to sell at the maximum profit of the price. That's how it works. The only inverse relation is with things like food and, going on trips and everything like that. You want to try to cheap out on things. Here, think of it like an asset, because we're dealing with assets. Gold is an asset. Currency is an asset. Stocks are an asset. We're dealing with assets. So think about it like buying a house. Think about it like buying a car. You want to buy in low. You want to sell out high. That's essentially what's going on. So in the I mean, you can get this entry however you want to, but of course, for me, you know, I'll go down to a lower time frame and just, you know, try to get that. That's just what I've been doing for years. You want your entry to be as low as possible. And to get that, all you have to do is buy at a very low point. And you can get those low points by, like I said, dropping down to a lower time frame. I don't think the 5 minute will show me anything. And that's probably just because of how I have my chart set up. I have presets set. But as you can see, we can get in very, very, very low here. The lowest entry you could have got was down here. And if you get in down there, you can maximize your profits. And let me remind you, we're over leveraging. We're maxing out the account. We're maxing out what we can possibly drop on this account to make maximum profits. That's what I mean by a sniper entry. And that's what you're looking for every single time, is a sniper entry. There is no room for error. You have to execute perfectly, buying low and selling high. However you get to that conclusion is up to you. You don't have to use a specific strategy. You don't have to use what I use. You don't have to use what you see anybody else use on social media. You can find out an indicator, or you can use a coin toss, whatever you want to do. That's completely up to you. But as long as you keep that core principle of buying low and selling high, you won't fail. You'll succeed, because that's all that matters in the market. Every position, you want to be in on the highest for sells, and you want to be in on the lowest for buys, because that's maximum profitability. And that's all that there is to the hood trading method. There's literally nothing more. It's just that simple. And that's why I recommend it to beginners and established traders, because if you have the capital, why not? Why not send some capital offshore? Take the risk there. Why not? You can make the same amount of profits that you would on a 50K, 100K, 150K funded account. You can do the same thing with no more than $300. The exact same orders, the exact same payouts, and you get them same day, and there are no restrictions on what you can do. You can do whatever you want. All in all, that is the hood trading method. I know it was a lot, and there was a lot of things that we went over. There's a lot of things that you probably learned today, and a lot of things that I showed you, but you're supposed to take your time, and I want you to take your time. Go back, rewatch the video, pause, think of ideas on what you can do. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. Join the Discord, drop the questions in the Discord. I'm available. If you all have any topics you want me to cover, make sure you do drop them in the comment section. It doesn't matter if you're a beginning trader, established trader, or you're skeptical to trading as a whole. Drop them in the comment section and I'll make a video about it if I can get around to it. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a successful trading week, a successful trading journey. And if you're new here, make sure you do subscribe, like the video, share it to a trading buddy, and I'll see you guys whenever I see you. Peace.